just heading over to my parents, and I've had a lot of stuff happen over. I'm going to go into a bit of mental health, in the fact of not anything in particular, just going to talk about mental health. And I've been thinking about a few things, and there's a few things that my lack of mental health, and the fact of not anything in the fact of any craziness or any sort of issues or anything else, but general mental health, which is connected with emotional health as well. And it's clear to myself, and it's really hard to say it's clear to myself that perhaps my mental and emotional health is not as good as it could be. And I'm talking about from day-to-day things. And I'm always talking about taking responsibility for yourself physically. And I'm great on that, and I'm getting better and better. And certainly these past 4 weeks has been an amazing sort of change thing. There's been some fantastic things happen, and I'm really happy with that. But more and more, I'm realising that there are some things that I need to improve on. Now, I'm going to turn around and say, in my work and in things that I am familiar with, I am very good at keeping a balanced and approach to whatever it is it may be at work, whether it's conflict management or anything else, stuff like that. The thing is, at the end of the day, is that you get a lot coming at you over and over and over again, and certain expectations, certain things that you really want and desire, and you just get overwhelmed. And I'm afraid to say with myself, my mental and emotional strength isn't as good as it is, because there's coming to a lot of points where I'm not as strong. I was listening to Jordan Peterson talking about this, that it's a direct link to who you are as a person and your self-control over your mental and emotional responses. And he was talking about in the fact that, well, especially in work, said you may not be happy in work, or you may be going in and out of work, you may be unhappy, you might think, man, this job sucks. You may be thinking about going to another job, or kind of, whatever it is, to get away from the damn thing that's making you upset. And what really tends to happen is that when we do realise, we've got money concerns and everything else and stuff like that, but we never really sort of think to saying, well, hang on a second, this job may suck, this may job be this, that, the other, or the colleagues I'm working with, or whatever it might be. And we tend to start putting all the blame on an outward sort of thing, and very rarely we check ourselves to see if there is something to be done, because let's be honest, bad things happen at work. It happens, and it's not your fault, right? It's other people's fault. Well, the way you get affected, actually, and where you allow yourselves to be affected, because it can be any number of things. You can allow yourselves to be angry, and sometimes things do happen where you will get angry, and it's about choosing that action on that. And anyway, I have had some significant situations happen, and I've noticed that myself, just recently, when things are going great, I'm really up there. And when things are going bad, I'm getting atypically more affected. And physically, I'm balanced, but there is a distinct lack of balance between my mental and emotional acuity into how I am reacting. And as I've looked at this, and as I've looked at everything else, and especially the weekend that I've had, where a lot of things happen, and when you mentally and emotionally say, right, I'm actually going to go and do this, and I'm actually going to choose to deal with things emotionally, mentally on a certain level, it is a little bit like training in the gym. And when you purposefully go out to do that, because that can be mentally and emotionally draining too. And I have to say, and even said to my colleague and my supervisor and my boss, I said, man, I literally went home shaking, and I had a little blood on the inside of my mouth because I really bit hard on focusing on saying, hey, you know what, I'm just going to get on with my job, and this is what we're going to do. And you know, there's been a lot of things I've had to repeat. So what I'm going to say is it easy? It's not easy to admit there is an imbalance, that, you know, perhaps you're choosing to do something. It's not easy to change that, because believe me, physically, all you have to do is just eat a little less. Well, I'm simplifying, but to get into shape physically, all you got to do is eat a little bit less, exercise a little bit more, move around a little bit more, breathe a little bit better than what you do, and you've got a mixture of getting into shape. Very simple, very physical things. Something you can do like that. Although, you know, your emotional and mental responses might be, man, I really want this, but I want to have this. You know, and you got to make a choice. And the goal should be the physical goal should be the dictating factors. So your physical goals is to become physically better, right? So therefore you go, well, you know what, I'm not going to have that baked good, or I'm not going to have that extra glass of wine, or I'm not going to have that extra bar of chocolate, or whatever it is, or I'm going to move a little bit more, or, you know, whatever it is to get you into shape. Now, when it comes to emotional and mental responses, okay, here's the deal. You literally have to mentally and emotionally take charge of an emotion or a mental process. And it isn't just a case of doing it once or twice, same as in a gym. It is literally every day, with every single piece of information or action or whatever it may be that's coming from you every single second of the day. And it's also guarding against letting yourself become so overworked with positive things as well. You know, we should all be happy. We should all have joy in our lives. We should all be, wow, you know, I'm really awesome, really excited for that. But it is a danger when that gets out of control too. And we've got to learn to temper that and say, hey, I'm excited about this, feel the buzz of it, but then also to kind of settle and start and say, well, how do I actually keep this going? How do I actually temper it, and how do I do it so that I can get more out of things? So, and all that, mentally and emotionally, all that goes into it, which draws more emotional and mental resolve until literally you are drained. Now, it's going to happen. It's the same as any physical thing. It's going to happen, but eventually, as you focus on it and as you move forwards, and you know what, you've got to be tested. You're going to have people coming up and throwing the attitude at you, or whatever it may be, to help you lift or focus or control that. Hey, it's all part of becoming better, and this is something that I've really had to focus on myself, and something I really want to focus on. So, you know, when we talk a bit about mental health and emotional health and everything like that, it isn't just a case of sometimes being depressed or being having some sort of issue or anything. It is literally about your day-to-day mental and emotional health, whether everything's balanced or whether it isn't, or whether you feel you are lacking in something. You know, it takes a look, it takes a lot to get that in balance. So I'm going to turn around and say this, and I'm not sponsored. I'm not being asked by Jordan Peterson to say anything or anything else like that. It's just I have found a lot of his stuff has really helped me to see a lot more objectively how I need to, as a man, grow and evolve. And you know, like he said, I'm just going to wrap this up, and I'm going to make a direct quote. He said, you know, it's all about risk. And you know, should we take risks? Yes, we should take risks. We said, what is the more riskier? Is it you know, and he used this analogy in children and the problems that we have in today's society with our children. He said, is it risky to let our children do certain things? And I said, there's certain things that are systemic that's happening, or is it riskier to kind of wrap them up and protect them all the time? Because if you protect them all the time, protect them all from risk and everything else, they're not going to learn how to evolve and deal with risk and figure things out for themselves. So it's riskier to actually be overprotective and to really kind of go that way, and then when they grow up and they don't know how to take risks, they don't know how to deal with things. It's all about what risk will give the minimum long-term impact on your life. And you know, my choice to deal with things better in a mental and emotional way, and to balance myself mentally and emotionally, is going to be a challenge for me, in the fact that there is a lot of work I need to do. Even though I am good with certain things, I've got a long way to go. So that is my challenge, and I hope that I can move that forward. So, you know, just, you know, when people talk about mental health, emotional health, you know, take stock of things. Ask yourself, am I actually dealing with things the way I should be dealing with? And usually you're going to find your answer is actually, I'm not happy with the way I deal with things. Have a great day.